I fear we have overcomplicated the idea of cooking from scratch. I need to fill my freezer stash. So once a week, I'm going to make an effort to cook a meal that is going to go into the freezer stash specifically for the freezer stash. And today I'm going to do beef stroganoff. And I'm going to do it a much more affordable way. Instead of using beef strips, I'm just using beef mince. My friend introduced me to that. She called it poor man's beef strog. But mince instead of beef strips, so much easier, so much cheaper. And for some reason, the kids prefer it. So not mad, let's go for it. Now, you absolutely can use sachets for this if that's what you prefer, but I just prefer not to. Heat some oil in a pan. You want to make sure you get that nice and warm. I'm using my big electric fry pan just because it's easier, because I get better light at this window, okay? I do have a stove, I'm just not using it. I'm going to start by browning off my mince. If you have a smaller pan, do it in half batches, but I've got plenty of space to do a full kilo. Is it a kilo? Yeah, it's a full kilo. I'm also not super specific about the measurements because there are certain things I prefer more of or less of. So I will put the rough ingredients of what I've used today into the caption, but go for gold if that's what you want to do. Once you are happy that that is browned off, you are going to chuck in a whole diced onion and one of those like half kilo packets of sliced mushrooms. You can buy the mushrooms and slice them yourself. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to, okay? All right, next up we're going to add some flavour. So I'm going to put in 2 big heaped tablespoons of my garlic paste. I don't know what that's equivalent to, but 2 big heaped tablespoons of garlic. We're also a little bit of a plague house right now, so I'm putting extra garlic into everything, you know? Next, we are adding a teaspoon of sweet paprika. You can use smoky if you prefer. I'm going to do sweet paprika. Now, this is a half teaspoon measurement. That's why it looks like a lot. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to put more in. We're going to chuck in some tomato paste. I'm going to do 4 tablespoons. That should do it. I'm measuring with my heart, all right? Next, I'm going to put a cup of beef stock. Now, I just use the beef cubes. These ones I really, really like. And I've just dissolved that in water. Chuck that in. Stir around. Normally I would use Dijon mustard. I didn't have any today, so I'm actually just going to use whole grain mustard. Slightly different, pretty close. I don't have a hell of a lot left, so what are we calling that? Maybe a tablespoon? I'm just going to chuck it all in, okay? I've just put a little bit of water into it to make sure I get every last drop out. Yum. And there's our whole grain mustard going in. That'll give it some beautiful flavour. Don't throw your jars out, keep them. So the most amount of like prep work I had to do was dicing the onion, and I used my little blitzer for that thing, so that was easy. I'm going to turn that heat down just a little bit, and that's just going to simmer for a moment. I am going to leave it covered just for a bit, and then I'm going to come back in like 5 minutes. That's been simmering away nicely. Now, if you feel as though your sauce is too thin and you want it a bit thicker, my best trick is to, like, I would say use the mustard jar, couple of teaspoons of corn flour, grab a little bit of your sauce and some water from the tap and give it a really, really good shake and chuck it in, and that's going to help thicken up, okay? But I like mine extra saucy, so I don't mind that mine's a bit more saucy, because now we're going to add in sour cream, and once that sour cream's in there, it's going to come together really, really nicely. So give me 2 seconds to get a spoon. Our sour cream. Now, I'm going to add like a nice big dob in, mix that through, and then decide if I'm going to add more. I'm going to go more. I'm just going to add it all in. It was most of a container. I'd opened it the other night for Mexican, and I was the only one who'd had any on my burrito, so it was, most of it was there. Let's just call it a whole container, okay? Mix that through. And that's you done. You actually don't need to cook off the sour cream at all. That's it cooked. Less than half an hour, it's ready to go. When we serve it, we will either serve it with pasta or mashed potato. Sacrilege, I know, but we love it. It's also really good in a pastry, like a little beef strog pastry. So good. I actually do have some puff pastry in the freezer. Screw it. I'm going to do it. I'll put it in a separate video though, so you can watch them together, or you can just watch one or the other depending on what the algorithm feeds you. But that is my freezer stash beef strog for the freezer stash, but also I'm going to make some sneaky little puff pastries with it. Yum. So from that kilo of mince and half a kilo of mushrooms, this is what I've got for the freezer stash with my beef stroganoff. So these are 2 big family meals, and I've got 2 little single serves there as well. So I'm going to let those cool, and then they're going straight into the freezer.